Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony for Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, I didn't stutter, 2 places, Unarmored version. I did not review the armored version, they did not send me a review sample, and I haven't bought it yet. I plan to, so if you want to see that, I plan to get it one way or the other. Either I'm going to beg them, no, it's too late, or I'm just going to buy one. But this is the one that they sent me, which is the unarmored version. Slightly less cool looking, but maybe you like it more. I don't know, maybe you like some turtle skin. Maybe. Anyway, it's a pretty darn good figure at a pretty good price. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands, he's slightly hunched, but he's always slightly hunched, so there's nothing I can do about it. About, let's just say, just over 16 centimeters, and that's going to make him pretty close to, we'll say 6 3/8 inches. I know those aren't exact, but it's pretty close. And let's go ahead and do a question of the day. You're probably thinking I'm going to ask which turtle is your favorite, but I'm not. I'm going to ask which turtle is your least favorite. Every time I ask the favorite one, I get the same answers. It's pretty obvious Leonardo's the best, but which one is your least favorite? Let me know. I'm going to go with... That's tough. Ooh, that's a much harder question. I hadn't contemplated this. It's either Donatello or Michelangelo. I think I'm going to go with Michelangelo. If I had to pick my least favorite, it's him, just because he's not serious. And nunchucks aren't... Well, no, the nunchucks are more fun than a bow. I don't know. That's a tough one. Okay, let me know in the comment section below who you picked and why. And then real quick before we get into the review, tomorrow night, celebrating 200,000 subscriber milestone by doing a live stream with a Q&A. I'm going to be answering all your questions live. Maybe not all of them, depending on what you ask, but going to do it live, and there will be a giveaway. So that's tomorrow night, Saturday, February 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the channel. All right. Let's get into this guy. He's 38 bucks. 38 bucks on Big Bad Toy Store, which I imagine is how most people are going to get him unless they happen to find one in the wild. And that's only a couple dollars more than Marvel Legends' upcoming PS5 Spider-Man figure, which is a repaint. And it's just incredible to me how much you get from NECA for almost the same price as Marvel Legends these days. Here he is up against Darwin, in case you're curious for size purposes. He is about the same height as Darwin. So he's about 1 Darwin tall. But golly, the paint job on this thing is gorgeous. Not only is there a wash going on like everywhere, there's also these nice black lines to accent some of the things. They're not perfectly placed, but they look pretty good. We have some shading going on, some extra orange detailing going on there. The skin tone, there's like dry brushing and washing and all kinds of stuff. It looks so nice. All the way around, looks really, really good. It's super clean. The little scars are painted in nicely. The battle damage on his gauntlets, that looks good. The cloth, everything looks really good on this guy. Really, really good. I like that. Even the little sandals, the sandal straps, have a nice lining on them. Very, very nicely done. There's shading on these wraps on his legs. The shell has all kinds of shading. This figure has more paint on it, I think. Maybe not in volume, like actual amount of liquid paint, but more paint application on it than all of the Marvel Legends, not counting movie figures, in an entire year. Maybe. There's a lot going on here. I will say though, I just noticed this belt doesn't have anything on it, and it looks like a buckle, so it probably shouldn't be brown. I'm thinking that should be silver, but I haven't checked because I didn't know I was supposed to, so I'll see if I can find that out and put it up there. But otherwise, this thing looks fantastic. From a paint perspective, sculpt is awesome too, except for one thing that bothers me. The way they did this really, really bothers me. His rib muscles, his serratus muscles, and everything else down here is an extra layer connected to the shell, and then you have his chest under, like if his body was not connected to the shell like an actual turtle. If he had actual pecs underneath there, it's in. It should be out from the rib muscles for sure. So it gives him a very narrow look at the shoulders and at the chest, and if you look at the artwork, even on the box, he should be very, very thick. Very thick. So because of the way they did that, it kind of gives him a disproportionate look with the really big legs and then the narrow chest. So if they had just brought that out, they didn't have to carve away any of the shell because it doesn't really help that much anyway. Brought the the green part out farther, then they could have left the shell alone and he would have had a broader chest and it would have looked a lot better. So that is a problem. Once you pose him, you won't notice it probably, but it's something I had to mention. So I'm going to give the aesthetic an overall rating of 9 out of 10. I'd have gone 10 if they didn't do that weird thing with the chest. And as far as I can tell, it's not even for articulation. It's still just, it's glued in. It's glued together here. So that's super weird. I hate that they have the abdominal muscles, essentially, the obliques and everything, outside of the rest of the torso. That's so weird looking. I don't care for that. But it does look wonderful otherwise, so pose it away, I guess. Okay, as far as accessories go, we have the neutral head that comes on him in the package. Then we have one where his teeth are showing. Those look nice. They have slightly different bandanas. They do swivel, so that's pretty cool. You get this robot dog, whatever that is. I don't know anything about this storyline. I have not kept up on my turtle stuff. So I have no idea what the dog robot is. It doesn't articulate or anything, though, so you have that. You have Splinter's journal. At least that's what it's listed as. And then you have a bunch of hands. You have the 2 fist hands that come on him in the package. You have a pointing finger hand, 2 gripping hands, and then 2 wide open hands. So that's pretty good. You have the broken katana. You have the sai. You have the nunchucks. You have a tonfa, which is very unique looking. And then you have 4, it's listed as throwing knives, but they look like throwing spikes to me, but they're flat, so I don't know. But you get 4 of those as well. So that's a pretty good spread of accessories. I'm going to go 9 out of 10. And a buttload of paint on this figure, remember, and a lot of sculpting, even though it's technically reused halfway from the armored one. This is a whole lot of figure for under 40 bucks. Those accessories, that's a lot of accessories. That's nuts. By the way, the sai can go in right here, the sword goes in back here, and then the nunchucks go in right here. However, they tend to slide out a little bit. This could be a little bit tighter, I guess, but it's okay. It's okay. All right, now as far as articulation goes, it feels like a double ball peg, but I'm not getting a ton of range out of that neck. It's not really doing a lot, and I don't know that heating it will help because it doesn't feel like it's stuck. It just feels like it doesn't have a lot of range. So be aware of that. These guys do rotate. Shoulders are swivel hinges, so they go up to horizontal. That's pretty good. And then you get your rotation. But of course you can't bring his arm all the way down because his rib meat is in there. You have the lats and all the serratus muscles and everything. It's just weird the way they did that. So his arms can't go all the way down, but they go down far enough, so that's okay. No bicep swivel. You get your double jointed elbow here, and it'll swivel at both ends, and it has a hinge in both ends, but it doesn't have really good range, which bothers me because they did cut out a pretty decent chunk of his bicep to make that work, and it still doesn't really have great range. It's not bad, but it's not particularly good. It's not the best looking thing either. That is where you're going to get your bicep swivel. So it's okay, but it's not as good as it could have been if they had just done a traditional bicep swivel. He would have had a lot more meat on his arms, which he should have. These particular versions of the turtles, or this turtle, very chunky. And that makes him look very skinny because of that elbow joint. So that's a little bit of a bummer. Like I said, it swivels up here for the bicep, swivels right here for the forearm. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. The gripping hands do not have vertical hinges, they are horizontal, so be aware of that. You do get a ball peg that lets the entire torso move around. That's pretty good, I would say. Side to side is good, forward and back not a ton, but a little bit. Then you get your rotation. This is glued on to right here, so you can't do anything with that. Hips are ball sockets. Good old ball pegs in there, can't really see too much. Going out to the side, you get about that much, which is probably enough, but the diaper, especially having been hidden underneath this, I don't think the diaper needed to take up as much space as it did. So you would have gotten a little bit more range out of that if you trim away a little bit of that diaper. But decent enough going out to the side. No looseness. Going forward, you have to flex that diaper, but you can get to just about horizontal. And then going back, I can't get him to go back at all, really. So relatively limited, unnecessarily so. Thigh swivel is good. Double jointed knee, not as good as I was expecting, but it's good enough. I'll take that, that's fine. And then for the ankle, you have what is essentially a true ball hinge. So you get your hinge going forward, going back, and you get your ankle rocker and your swivel, and you get a proper ankle rocker out of that ball hinge. Looks great, no problem there. All right, so his articulation definitely could be better. The neck, the shoulders, the arms, the torso, the hips, it's not bad, but it definitely could be better. And really the main thing I would want is the arms and shoulders to be better. There's just no reason for it. If they had brought that chest out wider like I think they should have, and based on the artwork they should have, you could have had much better shoulder range. And then if they had made the arms a more traditional style of articulation, you would have had a lot more bulk on there and probably better functionality. So definitely bummed out about that, but I'll give the articulation a 7. It's not bad, and considering it's a lot of good sculpt work and paint work and accessories, you're probably going to be willing to sacrifice it, which is what NECA seems to want to do. It's a valid thing. They can choose to do that. That's their company, and that's fine. You have to decide for yourself if you like it. So, time for a final verdict on this release. I like a lot of this. I think the paint job is basically unrivaled for the price point. It's incredible. Really well done. The sculpt work, very nicely done. Other than the limited articulation and the weird decision to make the torso the way they did, I think this is a super strong release. Because of those two things, though, I'm going to knock it down to only an 8 out of 10. It's still really, really good, and it blows away anything Hasbro has put out for anywhere near that price point, but it does still have some flaws and some room for improvement. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.